Curtis. Can I paint the scene a little bit?
You may.
We've, spoiler alert for this episode, if you didn't read the title already. We have guests this week, and we're very excited about it. But with guests always come, technical problems that we were trying to sort out. So we've been trying to sort out technical problems for probably about 45 minutes now. And 45 minutes ago when we started the episode, Curtis was lamenting about how his Wendy's was hopefully going to be ordered within the next 15 minutes. And
or delivered.
Delivered. Do you want to give us an update on that, Curtis?
Yeah, so thus far, it's gone through, actually 6 at this point. 6 different delivery people have not been able to pick up the Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich and bring it to me. But that's all right. I think
the magical force field blocks the path.
I think the 7th person, they've really got it. Actually, this is the first person I've seen with the little, it says their name, and then below it says gold deliverer. And I'm like, oh shit, they're like a boss.
They're bringing out their gold. I think the 8th person who goes is going to be the one to finally get it, because 8 is always the best. Yeah.
But it'll be a 2-hour order at this point, which whatever, shit happens, right? But
it's like Shadows of Mordor or whatever. When you kill enough delivery members, the captain shows up, you're like,
yeah, exactly. That's time. That's how I think it's working, right?
Man, douche has arrived.
The Wendy's spicy chicken is at the top of the Phoenix Tower of Fort Condor in FF7, right? And everybody's trying to get up that mountain, but they can't quite get it because of all the boulder traps and the soldiers that they put in the way. But then this guy is at the very back, right? And so he's the commander, and the forces of Wendy's are already destroyed to some extent. So he's gonna be able to plow through them and get it. So I have faith in this one.
He bravely sent waves after waves of his own men.
Some of you will die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make.
So if you haven't guessed by now, this is the Jesus Christ, I can't even say the name of my own goddamn podcast. This is the Every Effin' FF podcast. Usually Curtis says this. I'm Carl.
I usually don't say that I'm Carl, but I'm Curtis.
I'm
so
Alex.
You get it?
And with us, we have one returning guest and one new guest, and together they make a new podcast that did not exist when the first guest was on.
And one of them just dropped out of the call.
Oh man, what a cursed. Oh, he's back.
He said he didn't want you to say that. He said he would leave. He's in the green room right now. There better only be brown M&Ms.
As for the shopkeeper and his son, we had to beat them to death with their own shoes. But that's a whole nother story altogether. I had to get a brandy glass filled with brown M&Ms, or Ozzy wouldn't go on stage.
So we have
we got Dave here.
Yeah, we got Daycare Dittos on the podcast, which is repeat guest Dave.
Well, we have 2/3 of Daycare Dittos on the podcast.
That's true.
2/4.
Yeah. We're a foursome, a fearsome foursome now.
A fearsome
Well, really,
foursome.
we got...
See, it's confusing because in the USA release of Daycare Dittos, there's only 2 hosts, but in the Japanese one, there's 4 hosts. 4.
That will never run out of gas.
No, it won't. We will not let it.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
And technically, it's a 3D version because there's 1 female and 3 dudes. The D stands for dudes. And I'm doing frustrated with technology, but happy to be here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's my life.
I'm absolutely chuffed. I'm starstruck. I'm so glad to be here. I'm Peter of Daycare Dittos. I hope we have a good podcast.
Hope we have a good podcast.
So for our listeners, if you don't know, Daycare Dittos is the podcast that features our name the most that isn't our podcast.
I think it features our name more than our podcast, honestly.
We learned it from you.
Every single podcast, we have to take notes on the Pokemon, but also plan a good segue. You should give us copy, your Squarespace. It's a great idea deserves a great website. Also, do you like Final Fantasy? If you do.
But for real, Daycare Dittos is one of my favorite things to listen to right now. It's very...
it's really good.
Partially because I know y'all's more or less, and also because it's reminding me of the simpler days of collecting Pokemon and just being, that's a cool Pokemon. and
Yeah.
not going much deeper than that. Except you guys go really deep into it, which makes it real fun.
Oh yeah, I learned so much shit listening to your podcast.
The simpler days of Gen 1 Pokemon now. When
Currently.
they get into the upper numbers, then it's going to be a different story.
Yeah, I'll be learning new all day.
Yeah. As we get more recent, we're going to run out of things to say because I'll be like, oh man, don't know this guy. Next.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Pokemon from the last 3 games?
Eldegoss from the last game. He was good. I don't know. Oh man, that's a toughie.
That's one more from the last 3 games than I would have been able to say. I'd be like, was Piplup in the last 3 games? Was Pooklepop in there?
I love Dragapult. Dragapult is like the new faux legendary dragon, and like Dreepy is its like basic evolution, but when it reaches its final evolution, its young lives in its head, and one of its moves is it literally launches its young at you like missiles. And I just love this whole like you startle a mother and it's like and just like throws its baby at you.
That's literally just being egg burdened in Dark Souls 1, where you can like kick and shoot a little worm out of your foot.
Literally, it has like a special move, and like the animation of it, like, it's like manning the torpedoes in its head with just children and just firing it. It's very good.
I really like Dreepy because it looks like one of my cats. Anytime like it's sitting up on like a cat tower or something and just has the little feet out front. I always say that they look like an Eerie from Super Mario World, but looks very Dreepy as well.
Was X and Y 3 ago? Sword and Shield, the Sun and Moon, and then before that, X and Y?
Yeah, X and Y.
Yeah, X and Y was before that, yeah.
When did... Oh, no, the one I'm thinking of is the one before that. Fuck, it doesn't count.
Black and White.
Yeah.
Black and 2 and
I was
white
gonna say my controversial pick would have been the ice cream cone Pokemon, Vanillish.
Oh, I like that Pokemon.
But I think that's Vanillish. 4 generations ago now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, that one was made fun of when it first came out, but people are absolutely in love with it. So
I love it.
It just takes time.
Trubbish, what a great Pokemon.
Hell yeah.
We're really showing our age here.
Love Trubbish.
It's modern TV, like iCarly and Lost. What are the kids really do these days?
Matlock.
Matlock.
Are you guys excited for Kyle XY to come on television?
I don't know why he doesn't have a belly button, but I'm excited about it.
That's the mystery.
Pokemon Kyle XY is my favorite generation.
So this week
we're talking about Final Fantasy, not just Kyle XY like we usually do, but
we're no longer up the creek without a paladin.
Hey.
No? All right. I tried.
No, I like it. I
liked it too.
So we're all paladined up and ready to make our return on Baron through the what's not the Snake Way. That's Dragon Ball Z. What the fuck is it called?
I can't remember the right one now.
Devil Hole.
Yeah, in
the
one
Devil's
of my
Hole.
versions, it's called like the Serpent's Way. In another, it's called the Devil's Way.
The
I like
Devil's
the Devil's Way because it sounds cool.
That's good. Yeah.
The birth canal.
We're going through the world's birth canal.
The vast deference.
But yeah, so we're leaving the Mysidian Elder and Mysidia in general and heading back. And I thought last week that for some reason there was like a dungeon down here, but there is not. You just step on the tile that is like the Devil's Path or whatever, and it just takes you to Baron. You're just instantly warped there.
Yeah, we get not instantly. We get a little zoom out to the overworld, and we see the camera kind of pan over to Baron to let us know that we're taking the hyperloop that actually works.
Yeah,
right.
It works similarly to the teleport panels in Sabrina's gym in the first generation of Pokemon.
So as we know that
I can't wait to get to the part of Baron where we have to touch buttons inside of trash cans in order to meet the king.
The war hero.
Yeah, baby.
The second one is always next to the first one.
Yeah, but which way?
But which way, though?
I hate that puzzle.
So as we know, teleporters work by vaporizing our entire party, then reconstructing us on the other end. So we start at level 10 again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's how the job upgrade from Dark Knight to Paladin worked as well. Like, Cecil just got like obliterated.
That's like any job that you get. That's like, okay, this is my first time doing this type of job. It's a new type of career path, so you kind of have to start over. You know, it's not like you went to school for Paladin studies or the Paladin arts school.
Yeah, he's still paying off his Dark Knight degree. But
oh no. That's too real. He's in his 30s. He wants to pivot, and he's unhappy with where he was.
Yeah. But once we arrive in Baron, it doesn't really give us any like immediate idea of where to go or what to do. So the very first thing I did was like leave the town and go to the castle, right? Of course. I was like, all right, castle time. Let's just roll. They rolled up on Fabul this way and roll up on Baron this way. Fucking quid pro quo, motherfucker.
Just knock.
Just knock. It's fine. But they don't let you in. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm not sure why they wouldn't let us in, but they don't.
All Cecil's stuff is still there.
Yeah. That's me. That's my bedroom in the tower up there. You can go check.
I have my own fucking tower. I share it with 5 beds.
A picture of Rosa is still there.
He's got his typo negative posters. All Dark Knight shit.
Yeah, he goes in and sees them and he's like, oh, I cannot believe I was into this.
Yeah. The Crow? Really?
He spray paints on his wall, Dark Knight for life. It's like, oh, that's so embarrassing.
But the location we're actually supposed to go right now is the inn, right, of Baron.
Yeah, you can walk around Baron and talk to people, and they'll kind of point you in that direction. They'll say like the one that kind of points you there is someone says like, oh, that strange monk has been seen with the soldiers in the inn, in like the tavern above the inn or whatever.
And as we know from Final Fantasy games, there's only one person per job in the entire world. So, so like
job
a
security.
Monk. Yeah, we already know exactly who that is.
Yeah, Officer Jenny's and Nurse Joyce.
Yeah, that's right.
Do y'all talk to other people around town?
I did not really.
There's a lot like some good dialogue. I like that there's that kid who was like originally like kind of scared of you, and now he's like, I like that Dark Knight that used to come around here. I wonder if he really died like everyone said.
Yeah, he's like, I hope he didn't die.
I should have done that.
The dancer said, it's one royal edict after another. Now the king's gone and forbidden dancing. Was a girl like
yes.
Well, that's because OnlyFans is no longer allowing sexual content, so she needs to find a new outlet.
It's bullshit, man.
What's the movie with Kevin Bacon?
Footloose?
Yeah, I was going to say, we may have a Footloose or Feet Looses situation on our hands.
Nobody put Cecil in a corner.
I also want to point out that was Dirty Dancing, Curtis.
Oh.
Same thing.
I expected to come back and like everybody just like ready to fucking fight you. Like, you come, because the whole town, it's kind of like you left and you're disgraced and everybody like, you're a war criminal, but you show back up to town and everyone's just like, hey, nice new haircut, dude. What's up? The king's been like fucking weird.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm a war criminal. Like,
they're not really making too big of a deal that you are no longer a Dark Knight. Like, maybe that was kind of Cecil's whole thing, and now everyone's just like, oh, hey, what's up, Cecil? Like, how do you even recognize him still?
I think half the town just hates Baron.
Maybe Baron like shot itself in the foot a little bit by declaring that you were dead. You know?
Yeah. Everyone's kind of talking about how shitty things have gotten there as well. Like, not just the dancers saying that like dancing is outlawed and stuff, but I think there's some other dialogue where people are like, oh, the king's really lost it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people who just like don't know you that well, who don't recognize you because they usually see you with the helmet or whatever.
I would love it because everybody, you're all over the world and we can't get back here because like shit's broke, like caves and all this stuff. But people everywhere we go, they'll be like, hey, hear what's going on with Baron and fucking starting a crystal collection and shit. And but I would love like one person to just be like, oh shit, it's you. Like that kid's cool. He's like, I thought he died. But there should be that at least like the one guy from high school where you like show up and it's like, fuck, Cecil got hot. Like, the whole world is talking about you and you go back home.
Be careful who you make fun of in Dark Knight School.
Exactly. It was just eerie that like they're all just done with the king's shit. But like, you know, I expected more.
It's kind of like living through year 2 of COVID, where like it's just like, well, fucking nothing surprises me anymore, and I can't be shocked by any. Like someone who was like once a war criminal comes out and is like, oh, I'm trying to stop wars now, and I'm like a class who is like cannot do war crimes like canonically or whatever, and you're just like, sure, fucking whatever, man. Just I hate this shit. I hate it here.
Yeah, I just want to dance, man.
I just want to dance. Can't even do that.
Well, I think also part of it is like that. The contention between Cecil and the actual like king is kind of maybe kept more on the down low. Like maybe to the people, you just were someone who worked for the king, and like the fact they don't really see you as an enemy, because like when you last saw them, you had the kingdom's best interests at heart.
Yeah, like people might not know the true like. Everything kind of happened so quickly that it might not be like there was like a post made where someone was posting on Baron Twitter or whatever being like, oh yeah, Cecil is no longer...
They didn't do a full like John Wick thing where they like texted everyone saying, keep an eye out for Cecil and fucking kill him if you see him. Which they should have done.
It's probably a thing where they were just like, oh, okay, we can just tell everyone that he died because that's less messy than saying like Golbez, like, oh, here's our new guy, Golbez.
Yeah.
Because Cecil died.
It's good optics that your heroes go down and die as heroes and not as turncoats.
Yeah,
so
true. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Your father died long ago.
Exactly.
So yeah. Anyway, we go to the inn, and surprise, Yang's alive. And
I love.
He's got
Yang.
like 2 guards with him, and so like I bust in and I'm like, I'm gonna save Yang from these guards. I'm gonna kick their ass, and like we're gonna bust out of here together.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, he's hanging out with my old friends. I don't want him to know how I used to be.
Yeah, they're all talking shit about me.
And the people in the bar are like already sick of their shit because they've been they've been acting like they run the show, which I guess they kind of do, right?
Yep.
Yeah, someone downstairs was like, oh, no one comes here anymore because like those soldiers are always up there like causing like a ruckus. They're always bringing that motherfucking ruckus.
And one guy doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah,
we serve food here.
Got another chest hair in this.
He's always dangling his little ponytail into people's drinks and laughing.
Just flapping him.
He keeps on impaling his beers on the claws.
Oh yeah, there's like he got the knuckles claws.
Oh yeah, he drinks a stout and then it gets like all the foam just gets in his mustache, and someone's like, "Hey, you got a mustache?" And he just looks at him and goes, "Yeah, I know."
But when we run up and talk to Yang, at first he acts like he doesn't recognize us, right? Like Cecil's like, "Oh my god, Yang, you're alive," and he's like, "Yeah, and who are you?" And I love that Cecil, at least in the 2D versions, is like, "Oh yeah, you probably wouldn't recognize me now that I look like this." He's like, I did get a makeover, that's true. And he's like, "Oh, it's Cecil." And then Young's like, "Oh yeah, Cecil, that's right. We've been looking for you. Kill this guy." And he like orders the guards to kill you. And you have to fight
that's
them.
cool. I don't think he did that in my version of it, but I kind of thought that. I was just like, oh yeah, it would make sense that like Yang wouldn't recognize him at
I thought
all.
it was like a hand wavy thing where we just believe that like Cecil looks different, but everybody in the world knows it's him still. I was like, yeah, we'll just hand wave it away. But they're like, no, yeah, I look different now. I have a different sprite.
But yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, you're the guy who is a traitor to Baron. Let's fucking get him.
Yep.
And then we're in a fight.
It's fair because
that
like,
one,
for all we know, like we just met this dude and saved his life, and then immediately he just got like butt fucked by a dragon. And then, like, for all we know, these other cool guys saved his life again. They pulled him from the shore, and maybe he spent 2 days with him instead of our 1 day. So,
yeah,
like,
that's a good point, too.
That is a good point. We did not spend much time with Yang at all. Like, we saw him on the mountain, and then went to his hometown, and then lost him immediately.
Him and these guards probably have inside jokes already.
Yeah.
We met his
They're
wife.
just, like, chilling at the bar.
That's true. He introduced us to his wife. Like
that old ball and chain. Nah, he's doing fun military adventures now.
Yang gets mad when he's drunk.
But then after we dispatch with his 2 guards, Cecil's like, "Oh my god, do you not know who I am?" And he's like, "Oh, I know who you are very well." And then we get in a fight with Yang himself.
So this is extra funny for me because during the fight with the 2 guards, they cast Mini on me, which carried over the second fight. So I imagine just Cecil trying to like talk Yang down while he's like just a little tiny
He has like
dude.
chipmunk
Don't you
voice.
recognize me?
Yeah, his voice is pitched up a little bit.
And he's like shorter than Palamamporum. It's so funny.
Now, when I went over, I had, I think Tella was dead, and then I had Palamamporum, and then Cecil was minied, and like it was a losing fight immediately in the original 3DS difficulty. I was like, oh my god. But in that version, you just have to outlast for like 3 turns, and then it's over. Because I was not going to last. I was like, this is the end.
Yeah, I immediately like cast Protect, and I think something happened where like Yang just gave up, and then he comes to. Because he starts to remember.
I had fucking like shell shock from last episode where I was like, wait, a true paladin will always sheath his sword. And this is a friend of mine. Like, I wasn't able to attack like the evil version of myself. Surely I can't attack my friend. And then I was like, well, fuck it, whatever. I'll just attack him. And then I ended up winning the fight. And Yang was just like, ugh.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I think in different versions of the game, you have different victory conditions for getting through to Yang. Either
I think so.
You get a foot to the face, or you hit him with your sword a couple of times.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I think for me, it was like maybe receive 3 hits, like whether it's a condition or an attack.
I don't think it's HP based.
Like if you just defend the entire time, I don't think it'll trigger like as a like wearing him down.
Yeah,
this game keeps sending mixed signals of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
When you edit the podcast, will you drop in like a news break right here, like a ding 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 ding, if you can find one?
Is Wendy's on its way?
I finally got the update that they were unable to deliver my Wendy's.
Oh no!
So the Wendy's I ordered at 6:30, and it's almost 9 o'clock now. This is Golbez.
That chicken's too hot. It killed 10 delivery drivers.
All right, well then I'm gonna go back to...
10 delivery drivers died trying to protect.
Yeah, they are.
And he didn't even get the sandwich.
And they said the chicken wars were over.
I'm gonna go back to...
They're trying to get all 4 burgers to get the ultimate power.
The Whopper, the Big Mac, In-N-Out Burger animal style, and then whatever one they have in
the Joe.
Troy,
what do they call them at Wendy's?
Dave's Juicy Doubles.
I wasn't paying attention. I was ordering my backup, the fish sandwich from McDonald's.
Yo, hell yeah.
It's for the best. You're getting a fresh, delicious fishy sandwich now.
Yeah, by the time that got delivered, it'd be all fucking gross. Because
the
spicy chicken sandwich is so good, but you got to eat it quick.
Yeah,
the lettuce would have been.
I'll just imagine
6 people would have held it
now,
because I imagine like everyone spent their time with it before passing it on.
Yeah, I like to imagine it's like the Olympic torch kind of thing where they have to they give it to each other, but the person previous like passes away as they're giving it. They're like, I need you to deliver this to the person on the end. It's the only thing that's kept me going all these years. Yeah,
I'm gonna mod Dark Souls so that it's Curtis's delivery driver just going to get a burger, and each time they die, the next person that goes has to go back to where the burger was to bring it to Curtis's bonfire.
Burger restored.
They got fry burdened.
Fry burdened. So speaking of fish sandwiches, those come from the sea, and the sea is water element, and
that's where Yang fell.
That's where
Yang was just
fell.
waiting for his Wendy's to be delivered, which is why he was up in the inn, and it never arrived, so he got very hangry, and that's why he was fighting us. So
that's right.
After the fight with Yang, he snaps out of it, and then he's like, Cecil, what happened? After the Leviathan attacked us, I can't remember anything.
Yeah, right. So, and I think that lends that credence to like all the things that are happening in Baron is all because of like Golbez's mind control, right? Because like we snapped him out, and he's like, yeah, I don't even remember any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Scary.
Yeah.
But he asks about Rydia and Edward, and we tell him that like, yeah, they're probably dead. Like that was it for them. They fell off.
Rydia was swallowed by Leviathan. I do not know of Prince Edward's fate.
Yeah.
But we'll see him very soon, actually. I'll talk about him this episode.
And it's like, who cares? Because I have these 2 awesome main characters by my side who are fun and interesting.
I'm a dad now.
I bought them all this cool armor and tons of awesome weapons.
They each have their own Switch. They don't have to share one.
We balled out and got them the OLED version, not the Switch Lite.
Had to buy them from a scalper.
My twins, fully decked out in the best clothes that money could buy. I went. I don't know if this is spoilers, but I also went back to Myst, and I got Palom, a dancing dagger. So,
ooh,
and I put a gold hairpin in Porum's hair.
Very
they're just
sweet of
looking
you.
fresh.
Yeah.
They're just looking fresh.
Damn.
Yeah.
That'll carry you pretty far in this game.
Yeah, they're dressed up to the nines.
Those mage drips.
Yeah, so they decide to retire to like the inn portion of the inn instead of the bar and kind of like plot what to do. And they all have an introduction, right? Where like Cecil's like, all right, this is Tella, because Tella wasn't with us when we met Young.
Right.
Like this is Tella, these are the mages, and like I love that Palom immediately just gets in bed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really cute. He does
Like,
his
they're all,
little
like,
dance thing.
In the 3D one, he's just on the bed, yeah.
Yeah, they're all like standing around talking about their plans, and he's just like, yeah, fuck this, I'm taking a nap.
Yeah.
He just jumps in bed, and I love it.
These old farts are talking. I'm going to sleep.
Yep, the mood.
It's like you creeping out of the living room when your parents have friends over and you just do not want to have to like talk to them. So you're just like slinking, seeing how
Yeah.
like quietly you can sneak back to your room to play video games.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we tell Young the plan that we're here to look for Sid, right? But that Baron Keep is all walled up right now, and they're not letting anybody in. And Young's like, well, we might be able to get in if we had one of these. And he pulls out the fucking key to the kingdom.
Hell
Master
yeah,
key.
dude.
The master key, baby. Get us in anywhere. It really does get us in to like private residences and like...
The
like,
fucking
like
store's
stores and shit.
closed. It's like, sorry, we're closed. I guess not. Welcome.
Yeah.
You beat me with the door.
No store is closed if you have the key or a gun.
Yeah.
The cashiers are just in there, just like, we still have to stand here even if we're closed.
Yeah.
All right, I want to talk about that when we get to it. Okay, so anyway, Young gives us the key. We're now allowed to walk around the town and open various doors, right? And the
all
idea
the doors
is that
we couldn't get in the first episode where I was like, I want to get in there.
right, and the idea is that there is a back way into the castle, and so using this key, we're going to be able to access the waterways into the back way, into the back of the castle. But yes, there is the store, the weapon and armor store that was closed at the beginning of the game. You can use the Baron key to open it, and like you go up to it and hit the confirm button on it, and then it actually brings up your item list, and then you select the Baron key out of the menu, and it opens it. And yeah, the guys are standing there at the shop. They're tending to the store. Like,
Yeah, how long have they
why
been
were
in
they?
there?
How long have they been in there? Just like they're like
Who
wondering
locked
to
them
each
in
other.
there?
Like, they didn't know that it was locked, so they're just talking to each other. Like, man, it's been a really slow day.
It's either the worst business model or the best. Like, they're like the supreme of whatever this Final Fantasy. Where
It's
like
exclusive.
by adding exclusivity to their stuff, it drives up the price and the want.
That's right. Yeah.
I will not deny actually having done this tactic at Starbucks because I didn't feel like talking to anybody.
Hell yeah.
It's like, I don't know, the door was locked. People were just like making noise at the door and then just like left.
Just make it up. Be like, did you pull? Yeah. Oh, it was a push. This is all your fault.
At the music store that I worked at for like a big chunk of my life, we had a sign on there that was just like, door is locked, ring bell for like assistance or something. So maybe it was that type of thing. That was mainly just
Okay,
because the
man.
owner of that place was kind of crazy, but
I like to think at the end of close, like when they're closing up the shop and everything, you know, and they're getting ready to lock the door. One of them goes up and like tries to open the door, realizes it's locked, and he's like, "Oh, that's why there was."
that's why business was so slow.
Or it's like those banks where you have to like use your credit card to like unlock the door kind of thing.
Yeah. Or they locked themselves in.
It's like a Big Lots or whatever. You need a membership for this.
Yeah,
It's like a weird. The door was like jammed, and they're just stuck in there. And like you open it and save them, and then they're like, "Thank God!" And then they're like, "Bye, thanks for the sword." You walk out and slam the door and lock them back in. And you're like,
Yeah.
"No."
They just reenact the second episode from Clerks.
Or like everybody in town has the key.
yeah,
So they're just
yeah,
giving
everyone
those
has
keys
a
away.
key.
Everybody has that
Looks
key.
like there is a back room though in the 3D version. There is like a door behind each of them. So there's
I was getting ready to say that. I was gonna say like there's a door in behind each of them, and so like this is the one store where if they don't have it, you could ask them to check in the back.
Oh yeah, and I think there's also treasure chests there, right? Like that aren't open.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like in Final Fantasy X, in that one town that we were in, where I was just like, oh, there's a treasure chest here. I can't wait to open it. But it's supposed to be like the stock or whatever, and you never open it. I'm like, oh, that drives me crazy. Just
a lot of Final Fantasies will show you that, and then there will be a back way into the shop that you can actually go get it. But I didn't see one. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Game. No, I tried to get back there too, and it didn't look like there was any way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can get to those chests. I opened all of them. Yeah.
Really?
You just rob them. Yeah, it's just it's items and gil.
Oh, well, I didn't find the entrance because I'm a big dummy.
Yeah, I just I knew that you could, but then by the time I'm in like any actual dungeon, I see a chest that I can't get to, and I'm like, it's impossible.
You're like, fuck it, it's not working.
What is it, a potion? Screw
it. Well, now I have like an excuse to get everything in these games because like the 3D versions have that like map completion percentage, and I refuse not to get map completion on every map. So I'm just like, well, I guess I'm getting everything.
What if it was just like their lunch in the back? Like you open up like their lunchbox.
There's my chicken sandwich.
Yeah. What were we saying, Alex? Is there an asshole in this town?
Maybe this is why your Wendy's was canceled, because the door was fucking locked. Yeah, speaking of map completion, there's a familiar face here.
Am I going to get upset?
We love this guy. His name is Camping Way, formerly known as Living Way / Recording Way / Loving Way /
You know what? I didn't see him, actually. I need to go back and do that.
So... once you get in here, you see Camping Way that we saw last.
Camping Way.
I do wonder if you find him here, if he will be here, if you actually interacted with him in the Chocobo Forest or not, or if you'll have different dialogue.
I probably just didn't look.
Because last time we talked to him, it was last episode when he was Recording Way and decided to give up being a journalist and said just be a yogi living and camping.
Just to be living and camping.
So you bump into him and he says, "Oh, greetings and salutations. Did you catch wind of my debut? Is that why you've come? No? Oh, excuse me then."
Oh my God, is he an idol now?
He says, "You see, I recently awakened my own musical inclinations and began to sing while wandering about the world. And
that's incredible.
Having discovered the siren call of music, I have little choice but to abandon the name of Camping Way." And so... Camping Way has now become Jamming Way the Bard.
Jamming Way! That's sick.
I was going to say, like, what, Barding Way? But Jamming Way the Bard is perfect.
I thought it was going to be like Singing Way, but it's Jamming Way, which is rad. That sounds like a good band name, too.
That's actually good, yeah.
That's very
good. He's practicing, he's going to become Shredding Way.
Yo, fuck yeah.
So, like Recording Way, this allows us to listen to music, even music we haven't heard yet, which is interesting, like a jukebox.
He's got that underground shit. He's got the demos.
We see a little screen with Edward on it.
Aw.
And Edward is our little music player. And what's cool is that you see like a playlist of all the songs, and he actually has something to say about each song.
Oh, so wow.
Like Kingdom of Baron, Baron's theme, blending austerity with a hint of valiance. And it has like this for like a lot of them.
That's amazing.
The prelude, an incredibly difficult piece because, it's just all arpeggios.
Gerard Way.
Yeah, like prologue, the song that captures the essence of that is Final Fantasy. A lot of
oh, that's really cool.
It's cute.
I like to think that Edward's like, I know you probably hear this every day, but I'm your biggest fan. I even got the underground shit that you did with Scam.
I do like that when you go to the Chocobo song, it says they're probably all off playing in some mysterious dungeon.
That's really good.
He has a lot of things, including like kind of some maybe potential spoiler territory, which is interesting, including like Lunarians, which I think we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
What if there's just a track that's like the death of Golbez or something?
It's like the death of Obi-Wan Kenobi when the soundtrack for episode 1 came out before the movie did. It was just like the name of the track, the death of Obi-Wan. Meanwhile,
Stone Cold Twins. The jam.
That's good.
But yeah, we have a little jukebox. I'm hoping every time we see Jamming Way, which I'm sure will be his permanent job, we'll be able to listen to any tune.
Right.
Yes, and then he will not just offload that responsibility to a fat chocobo again.
That fat chocobo really can pick up skills quickly.
Hell yeah.
So I'm playing the Game Boy Advance one, so he's only naming Way.
Right.
How do you guys rename your characters fun stuff? Does he still allow you to do that?
I don't think so.
In the 3 version, he only allows you to rename Cecil in the very first time you meet him.
Oh.
I think because of the voice acting.
Yeah, it's the voice acting.
Even though you can change Cecil's name, like there's the voice acting still says Cecil, but
I would imagine it was more so because it was probably a feature that like went majorly unused, and people probably were like, "Oh yeah, like naming way was like useless. Like I never changed the characters' names or whatever."
Unused. Like, they should bring that back.
Yeah,
so that's
my favorite part.
What are your characters named, Dave?
So my first one's from a talk with Curtis online where he was talking about the small, 5 characters for the Steam one?
Yeah, for the Steam one, it was 5 characters. What?
So I was like, oh, so your name can only be Poop. And it was like Poop with 3 O's. And that's when we were talking about it on Instagram. So that's why I named Cecil Poop. Rosa's name is Surfer.
Poop, though.
Sag is Edward.
Edward is Sag.
I got Phil and Lil.
That's so good. That's good.
I have Ramen. I'm really into this manga called Kaniku Man, which became like the Muscle Toys, and they tried to bring it back as Ultimate Muscle with like it's their kids.
I remember
one
that.
of the characters' name is
yeah.
His name is Ramen Man, and he becomes Mongol Man, and he looks exactly like he's supposed to be the same kind of martial artist and monk. So his name is just Ramen.
I see.
Sounds very familiar.
I couldn't rename Sid.
So there's a Pooty Pooty Man. Is he just a butt?
Yeah, he's literally an ass. There's also Binku Man.
He's like the proto Assy McGee.
There's a guy who's literally just a urinal. Ramen Man in like it's about like professional wrestling superheroes in the Olympics basically. Ramen Man is super violent. To prove how violent he is, he's fighting a guy who has like a glass of tea as a head, and he tears his head off and then drinks the tea out of it, and people are like, if that's the man's head, what is he drinking?
Oh my God.
And then he rips a Nazi in half, and he's like, so what? He was a Nazi.
Hell
And then
yeah.
everyone's like, oh, cool.
Praxis.
Yeah, we're fine with it then. Yeah, dude. Ramen Man. Very good.
So we have a key.
We have that key. And the other place that we can get into is the what is this area called?
Underground waterway.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the name of the dungeon that we found Tella in as well?
I think this one is called the Old or the Ancient Waterway.
Ancient Waterway is what it is on the wiki. Also known as Old Waterway or Barren Waterway.
There you go.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like the sewers in Arkham Asylum or whatever.
One of the things I wanted to bring up too is I did talk in Barren to Sid's daughter, who said that Sid had returned from work in a couple of days, and that even though he's like a workaholic, that's not like him to like stay away for that long. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in my version, she mentions like, hey, have you seen my dad? He like left for the castle yesterday and hasn't been back.
Oh, okay.
So a little flavor there of what we might find in the castle.
Bides unwell for our bearded engineer.
Yeah, for our handsomest man.
Oh God, he's so handsome.
Like a handsomer Dr. Robotnik type man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, he's Chad Robotnik.
He's like Wiley and Robotnik don't hang out with him because he got handsome. Like he got hot.
That's why he became good, and they're still evil.
Yeah, that's right.
He's the Sigma male version of the of the evil scientists.
You could fit an entire quarter lengthwise between each and every one of his teeth.
Yeah, so the waterway.
It's a basement. It's like a sewer, right?
It's visually pretty much identical to the underground waterway that we found Tella in. Same sprite set. And in the 2D version was just time padding in between set pieces. And in the 3D version was a fucking struggle, and I hated it. And everything in the original 3D version, like DS difficulty, I hate. Like every time I play it, I don't know why I do this. So I've been streaming my Final Fantasy homework every week, which, by the way, I'll be doing on Tuesdays if you want to come and say hi. But
it's a great pleasure to watch.
Oh, thank you.
That was my homework, is watching you do homework.
But I always play the Super Famicom version, and I'm always like, man, this is such a good game. Like, this is just one of the best Final Fantasies. Love this game. And then for whatever reason, I save the 3D version for last, and then I play it, and I'm like, this is the worst game. I fucking hate this game. It is just pain and suffering the entire time. Like, this is so awful. Like, why does it play this way? Why is anything done like this? And it's the worst. And this place just like reminded of me of that again. I was just like, I hate this game.
I like how Peter's homework was the meme where it's like, hey, can I borrow your homework? Sure, but just change it so that the teacher doesn't know that you copied.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to know what the correct takes were so that I'd be accepted.
You got that early access.
Yeah.
I read a couple things about the game and how this was like the Final Fantasy where they were like, all right, cool. 1, big hit. 2 and 3, no one really gave a shit. So if 4 is not a banger and not like making money and bringing back the franchise to what it was and what people saw with number 1, then they were going to go in a different direction. So when it came to like being brutal, being challenging, but also like just every character, everyone's fucking dying and the whole world's exploding. Like this was their like, they were like, we need to make like Michael Bay this one. Like this needs to be as big as possible. And after I read that, I'm like, it makes a lot of sense because it moves quick and there's a lot to do and look at and it's challenging. So like people are saying if this game didn't do that, then we may have had a whole different, Final Fantasy may not have continued the way it did.
Well, the Super Famicom one is like challenging, but the DS one is like punishing, just like cruelly so. Yeah.
That makes sense too with just how many, like the amount of the cast of characters where it's like, oh, okay, you still have like the traditional Final Fantasy roles, but like it's going to be, you don't just have one like character for the whole run. It's just like, no, you're just going to have a fucking ton of characters.
It is very cinematic.
They had to fit a lot on the carts too. So apparently like they went all in on this and 75% of the script that was written did not fit on the cart and make it into the final game.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
so that's why in the original, how they're basically like, Young's like, hello, this is wife, goodbye. Like later. So they actually revisited the script for the other games and they were going to copy and paste the Game Boy Advanced version to the 3D. And then somebody that worked there was like, I'm going to localize the original script for the 3D one. And instead of copy and pasting, they made a whole script. So it's like all of the stuff that you're getting, and I've heard from like you guys discussing the differences, it was all originally there because they put like their all into this one. So I'm like really, cool. Really enjoying it. It's pretty cool.
It's like the Snyder cut.
Yeah, I love all the dialogue that they have in the 3D versions.
Yeah,
I think that's really well done, and the voice actors just nail it.
Absolutely.
I think maybe because just how like few scenes they had voice acting, they decided they like really did kind of give it their all. They got some like top tier stuff, even like in not the shit on anime voice actors, but I'm like used to hearing like voice actors that just don't sound that like convincing or very it's hard to make it not sound campy, but they like there's like some gravity a lot to like a lot of the voice scenes, even though they're like cheap.
This game has like this austere kind of like feeling to it. I think it's very like Shakespearean and very you know what I mean, like very like respectable.
Sure.
Like theater.
I wish I studied this in English class.
But one additional thing I'll say on that point that I read about this game,
high school production of Final Fantasy IV would be wild.
That would be sick.
Oh, man.
But one additional thing I'll say about that, the idea that they packed so much into the cart, I did read that, like, and if you notice in the backgrounds and, like, the enemy sprites and like that, they're very minimal colors, like, compared to a lot of Super Nintendo games. And that's one of the things they did to cut down on space was they were like, well, the characters are the most important part, so we'll make everything else, like, just a couple colors. So, like, the tile sets and the sprite sets like look and perform very, very well, but they're not like super complex as far as their colors go because they were able to like really, really reduce the color scope of the game to fit everything else in there.
A lot of optimization and compression and like, just finding ways to like, there are some times where it looks almost closer to like NES sprite, because of like the color palette they chose, just to kind of to save space. It seems.
As a kid, I always got this confused with a NES game because it
really
looks, it looks fairly pared down, except for Cecil, who's just an absolute like beast baller with like blues and yellows and reds and
right.
They should have gotten Satoru Iwata to work on the code in this game, so then they could add the Johto region.
But anyway, this dungeon is a dungeon, right? Like
it's kind of a headache because the main gimmick is, that thing that's there where like secret areas and other dungeons you might find some like hidden passageways,
right?
Yeah.
But this one, the entire map is hidden passageways,
right?
Yeah,
which makes it really difficult to navigate on the 3D version.
It's cool, but I did just like I was just like running low on time when I could do my homework this week, so I was just like, I'll just look at a map and see what I'm dealing with here, and I immediately saw it and I was like, oh, okay, I don't really need to explore this. Like, I'll just go through. Like, I'm not losing anything by not knowing like the path you have to take, which is hidden. Which, like, you know,
there's two paths. Like, there's the one where if you just kind of when you pop out, you're on a screen, and you're like, wait, where's the rest of this room? And then you can either go down or you can go right. And you like kind of like stumble into other rooms.
Yeah,
and there's like the long way, which is like down and under, and like. But then there's like a way that if you kind of find just the right position, you can kind of just go straight to the left and over to like where you're supposed to go.
It was tough for me to remember too, because of like an encounter would happen and I'd work my way through the encounter and it was just long enough for me to have forgotten where I had come from and where I was going.
For me, I'm just like trying to like move it, like just scuttle across the wall, trying to find like an opening, but I keep getting encounters. So it's just super frustrating trying to find the door and getting attacked, like just looking for a door.
Especially in that 3D version, yeah.
It's like trying to find the bathroom in the middle of the night, and there's cats running around everywhere.
I thought I soft locked my game because I went all the way down to the bottom, and I was like, "Oh, those are those motherfuckers who wouldn't let me into the castle because you can get behind them." And I was like, I wonder
once you actually get into the castle.
Yeah, you can just open the door. Like, you open the big castle doors. And I just wanted to be like, I want these fuckers to be like, you're not allowed in. And then I'm behind them like, what up? Like, now you're not allowed in.
I think they say the same thing. They're just like, stay away or something. You're like,
they just say the same thing.
Dickhead.
They just say, leave it once. And I was like, okay, but you can't get back into the door. It shuts and locks. So I'm trying to walk through them and I can't. So they're just like, leave it once. I'm like, you're in my fucking way. And they're like, leave it once. I figured out there was a button. So that whole time I was just like, do I have to seriously restart this? Like, when did I save? And I found the button and got back. But it was late last night and I was just like, no fucking way. When did I save?
Oh, man.
Before we move on entirely from the waterway itself, I'll point out one more thing. And that is that we find the ancient sword there. Which I remember when I was younger thinking that like new sword is new and better and then equipping it, but it actually does less damage. Like it's weaker, but it cuts the opponent's offensive capabilities though. When I think it
has a chance of dealing curse.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
but yeah, it's weaker. And I saw that and I was like, oh, cool! I just got this legendary sword with this like legend inscripted on it. It's like very important to this like culture that gave it to me and stuff. And then it's like, oh, cool, new sword. Like huck it, like sell it at the item shop for like 300 gil or whatever.
All right. But anyway, so like you were saying, we're in Barren Keep now. After that, there's no boss to the waterway. So we're
there's hydras, which kind of suck sometimes.
Yeah, there's a couple. I think you can also find soldiers down here sometimes.
Yeah,
there's soldiers.
Soldiers are a little bit of dicks. There's some electric fish that are a little annoying because they're a little tanky. There's like a water worm that has a lot of HP and can do,
it looks like the sandworm.
Yeah, it could do AoE water damage to your party. So there's some things down here, but no boss. Oh, and also, I abused Palom and Tella's bio spell, which costs 20 MP. But, like, really just, if I didn't want to fight something, I just nuke them with bio. It casts immediately, too. There's no charge up.
Oh, sick.
Wow.
I feel like I always, I never get all the use out of bio that I could, because, like, in some games it just poisons the enemy, and then in some games it doesn't work on anything except for human enemies, and then in some games it's just the most powerful thing going.
It's just the thing to use.
Seymour will just is very allergic to poison.
Like, I've been learning the FF6 speedrun, and like entire difficult bosses can just be like 1 or 2 shotted with bio.
Bio in 6 is great.
It's ridiculous, yeah. But I think the important thing to note here is that as soon as we walk into the castle, once we leave the waterway, we're in the moat of the castle, right? So we have to walk around through the moat and then through a little side door.
It's very Ocarina of Time right now.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. And then the first thing that we should do, that I did, was I went up into Cecil's tower, took down all the typo negative posters, and went to bed, because there's nothing better to do during an infiltration mission than just take a nap for a little while. Yeah, and I think maybe we should take a little break as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's like anytime you're on tour or something and then you finally get back home to your own bed and you're like, fuck yeah, dude, this is so good.
Also, what a power move.
Except this time we have all 5 people.
Imagine if Golbez is just like, maybe the secret of where he's heading is in his room, and you walk in and he's just like asleep there. And he's like, yo, you shut off the light? Fucking...
Do you mind?
No, he locked it. Remember, like that was Yang's defense.
Yeah.
Just lock the door.
I also like that we have a full party of 5 characters.
Yeah.
And in the same tower that like Cecil's room is in, there's also like 5 beds right in a row. We don't sleep in that. We just all cram into Cecil's bed and sleep in it.
Little twin bed, yeah.
Which is what we're going to do right now, I think, right?
My headcanon is he makes everyone watch. He's like, what? Stand there. And he just lays there.
Stand guard.
Yeah.
What is a Final Fantasy party, but just like a large polycule anyway?
Yeah, for sure. It's like an FF7 when we said they just put each other in their pockets or whatever.
That's right.
Right. So I think all 5 of us are going to be in the bed now.
That's right. Hopping into bed.
Bye.
A dream come true.
Welcome back to the Every FNF podcast, the only podcast that endorses Opera as a browser.
I do not sign off on that.
That's why I only browse the web on my Wii U.
I think the 3DS used that as well.
Oh my god, I didn't realize that. Or maybe I did and I scrubbed it from my memory because fuck Opera.
Remember I broke my phone at work once and I had to use my 3DS to like message my girlfriend at home like, hey, I'm gonna be home at this time. Like I like log into Facebook on my 3DS.
Log into Facebook on your 3DS at 3 a.m. and write WYD question mark.
You just picto chatting her.
Yeah. Picto chat a big old dong.
3-frame lewds.
Yeah, you like say like, do you want me to pick anything up from the store on the way? And she just draws the things she wants.
It's dignity.
So we're in Cecil's room.
So we're in Cecil's room. And frankly, why would we ever leave? See you for the next Final Fantasy. There's not really a lot to do in the castle, right? Other than
I went all the way to the East Tower because I haven't been there before, and there's like a whole bunch of chests over there. And
yeah, we can finally get into that one hidden door where the guy was blocking it and says like, "Oh, this is the armory." or whatever.
I didn't
like,
do that.
Yeah, it has like it's got like 2 Phoenix Downs, 2 like high potions or something, and also 2 unicorn horns, which is a weird thing to say.
I ran out of both Phoenix Downs and high potions on this next boss in the 3D version, so that would have been helpful.
Why does that unicorn have 2 horns?
Yeah, that's a good point. What kind of fucking unicorn bullshit is this?
It's a deer.
I just imagine pointing at a deer and be like, dude, look at that fucked up unicorn.
Yo, it's a double unicorn.
It's fucking metal.
It's crazy. Look, it's a no-horn unicorn.
Even the rarest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we walk into, like, the main hall, right? To where we're down the hall where we, like, originally left, like, when we saw, like, Kain. I'm like, you ready to go to Mist and do some good duty?
There's not a lot of people around the castle, too.
There's, it's no one there.
Yeah, it's very empty. Kind of scary.
I went to the mage's quarters. There's no one there in the light. There's no one.
I went to the prison to see if like Sid was in there or like I could free the mages that we captured and stuff, but there was no one there either.
I thought that was especially concerning when I went down there and saw that the prisoners weren't there anymore, and I was like, uh-oh.
Oh no, yeah, that's scary.
Well, they probably just let him go.
I think Carl already made this joke before on the podcast.
That's why there were 6 people in the beds.
But you might say that Baron is a little barren right now.
I thought you were gonna say,
as in we'll never have children.
Oh my God.
I thought you were gonna say that we go down to the prison and there's a white mage in there and she's like, "You're not locked in here with me," or I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Which I probably already made as a joke at one point. That's one of my 3 jokes that I regularly use.
But yeah, like in that hallway, or not that hallway, but that main foyer area that you were talking about, Alex.
Yeah.
That's like where we turn north to go up into the king's chamber. But before we're able to, a familiar voice stops us. And it's that...
All 5 of us are there, and a good old Joe Baigan.
Joe Baigan.
Old stinky Joe Baigan.
I looked up photos of his art, and he looks nothing like his sprite in the Game Boy Advance one. He looks like Zap Brannigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like all the photos and like art of him, he's like a purple, weird, like almost like Muppety.
He kind of looks like a JoJo character.
Yeah.
Who's making art of Baigan?
No, this is like concept art.
Amino, probably.
Yeah, imagine like making fun of like Amino for like for doing the art. Look at this MF making the art of Baigan. But yeah, Baigan stops us, and he seems to be like quickly what would you call it, sympathetic to the cause, because as soon as he sees Cecil, he's not like, oh shit, we had a fight. He's like, oh my god, Cecil, you made it back. I thought you were dead.
Thank God you're here. And I'm like, damn, maybe I pinned this dude all wrong. And then I remembered immediately what his sprite looks like on the script website that we're using. I was like, this motherfucker. This game's always keeping me guessing.
But he tells us, he's like Cecil's like, hey, aren't you on the side of the king? And he's like, no, I'm on the side of Baron, whatever that is.
I'm for the people.
He's the Rock.
Chancellor.
Yeah.
I love the Republic. I love democracy.
Which is pretty tight. I like that, actually, that he comes in and he's like, no, fuck the king. My loyalty's the Baron. And like, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
And then Cecil's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I heard that Sid is being held here. Is that true? And he's like, yeah, it's true. I led all my men in trying to rescue him, but they've all been like wiped out. And that's why I'm the only one around. And so that's like the explanation for why there are no guards around, is everybody's been trying to break Sid out.
But then things get fishy because he joins our party, but we already have 5 people in our party.
5, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, cool, now I gotta give this fucking guy a sword.
You all
go back through the waterway, back to the Baron store.
Do interns get a sword? Share one.
But yeah, Cecil says he welcomes him to the team, like he said.
Give him a unicorn horn.
It literally says on the screen too, Baigan joined the party, and gives us the little fanfare whenever that happens. And then we walk a couple steps upward, and Palom and Porum stop following us, right? They just kind of like drop out of the party, and they say
because we're at max capacity.
Yeah, right. It just kicks them out of the party.
One of us has to stay behind.
The party order is tallest to shortest. So, like, if somebody taller than you joins the party when it's full of fight, you get booted out.
I looked up. Palom and Porum are 3 feet tall. So,
holy shit.
Little scamps.
They're tiny.
They're 5 years old.
They're 5?
Yeah, they're 5 years old. Radio was 7.
I was going to say, I thought like Vivi was like 9, yeah.
Well, that doesn't matter to anything. I mean, they're just fun kids having a fun adventure. This will not be their Final Fantasy.
I can't wait until they live to the ripe old age of like 37 or whatever is considered elderly in these games.
Soon enough, they'll be able to vote for their own king.
Yeah.
Vote Baigan, vote Golbez out.
But look, Baigan might not be too much better than the king, but we can at least vote him in. We can push him left, and then things will get better.
But after Palom and Porum drop out, Palom says something stinks, And Porum's like, oh, I smell it too. It's the stench of a monster. And Baigan's like, what? Oh, we need to be on guard then. And so he's like, like playing into it.
Yeah.
And then Palom's like, his acting stinks too.
Yeah. And so they call Baigan out.
What did everybody's script actually say? Because I saw 2 translations. One was your acting sticks out like a crutch. And the other one was your acting is worse than William Shatner.
What?
I don't know if that was a fan translation, but I was watching a Let's Play from a while ago.
It's time for Google.
I just thought of like Tim Robinson from I Think You Should Leave. Just being like, we have to figure out who did this. And he's dressed as the hot dog. When they're like, somebody smells like a monster.
Yeah, he's like Akira transforming while he's saying it. A monster, where?
See, like in the Game Boy one, there's like no dialogue, and they're like, oh, Baigan. He's like, hey, I've missed you. I'll help you. And you're like, cool. And then it's just like, wait a second. No, I won't. Like, you take like 3 steps. There's no dialogue between it. So hearing your story makes more sense. Because the dude loves his goddamn country so much he'll become snakes. That's a true patriot.
Dave, the Game Boy version makes me think of like Always Sunny with the Nightman episode where he's just like, you can't tell me what to do. And it's like, dude, you just skipped a line. And he's like, you can't tell me what to do. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe how much better of an actor I am than you.
All right, I just looked it up. The J2E translation is the one I was looking at. So this is the original translation of the Japanese version of the game. So like early on, somebody translated the Japanese version so that we could play a more like true to the original ROM of this game. So more like the Super Famicom version. And because it was a fan translation, they put in the line, I think William Shatner is more convincing than you.
What?
Yeah.
Got him.
Who's William
This
Shatner?
was translated by, it just says
Lick my
El
balls.
Nimoy.
Carl, do you remember the time that I was at your house and I tried to be as convincing as I could, and I was like, what's jizz? I keep hearing people I keep hearing people say this word. What does that mean? And we all had a laugh, and I was like, no, I'm gonna double down on this. No, really, what is it though?
Yeah, was that when we were recording? I think that was when we were recording, and we were like, wait, you don't know what? Did we put that in an episode? I don't remember.
I don't remember if it actually went in the episode.
It sounds familiar.
So we're fighting Baigan.
Let Baigans be Baigans.
So they basically Palom and Porum call Baigan on his bluff, right?
They're like, Baigan, when you were at a fundraiser, you said to your donors that nothing would fundamentally change if you took office. Yet now you're telling us that you're going to help us like take down the empire. Okay, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but
yeah, so Cecil's like, so you have gone over, like, and then Baigan's like, why must you keep accusing me of being some kind of traitor? I'm merely repaying a great man for the wonderful gift he gave me. Behold! Yeah. And then he's all snakes.
That's cool.
He's so silly looking.
It's such a dumb fucking monster.
I like this Baigan. He's like,
I think it's a great boss design.
I love him because like he has a bit of like a Muppet kind of feel to him, but like a Muppet with armor.
Yeah, and snakes for arms.
I think he's a good boss because I wouldn't want to fight him.
That's a good point. I think I could take him down with relative ease in real life.
I just think that any boss that you design that is a Muppet in armor is a good design. Like if it can be described that way, you did a good job.
Why is that Muppet made of leather?
Oh, is that his boss art?
Yeah.
It's super silly. He looks like, he does look like if you took like one of those skin suits, like the green guy or whatever, but it's a purple suit, and you can just like put little felt Muppet hands on. But yeah, I love that he has a little hat on still.
He does.
He's got sock puppets. He's got a lot of feathers in his hat. And my favorite thing too is you notice he's wearing like MC Hammer pants that are like half black, half white, with like the drop crotch, and he's got like little Aladdin shoes. It's very nice.
It's called a drip. Yeah.
But he has some weird moves like Blood Feast.
Oh, love the name of that move.
Oh yeah, what does that do? Does that just like drain your HP and give him life a little bit?
Yeah, it looks like it cast sap on Palom for me, which looks like it just slowly. It's like poison, but it gives the enemy health. It looks like
That's leech seed.
Yeah, like leech seed.
Nice.
Ayo.
Never heard of it.
What game is that from?
Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah. The most important thing about this fight in particular is that in the Super Nintendo version, the one that we got, the FF2, the names of the targets here are Baigan, left arm, and right arm. All right. Mm-hmm. And then in Japanese, very importantly, right arm and left arm are indented by 2 spaces, and I like that a lot. It looks very professional.
Oh, nice. Yeah, one is justified left, one is justified right, and then...
Exactly.
But yeah, like, isn't the same thing with carry armor in FF7?
I don't remember if it was indented all professionally like that.
I mean, I'm talking about targeting different arms.
Oh, yes. I don't think that Baigan can give us a double lapis laser, though.
Oh, that motherfucker.
Well, he does the worm. He's constantly doing like.
Oh, he's so wiggly. He is a wiggly boy.
He's hella wiggly.
So wiggly.
Always be wiggling.
I love the bad guy trope where like they're just human feet and then like they have a belt that's just like bundling up a bunch of snakes. Like a bunch of snakes that grow out of the waist. I feel like a lot of different video games have that.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Is that a
stuff.
Dark Soul?
Yeah,
Does that happen in Dark Souls? Yeah.
Yeah, Gwendolyn.
I feel like that happens to like Resident Evils and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You, like shoot off the top of their head or their body, and then there's just snakes in there instead.
Tropes become tropes because they're cool.
But also,
True.
like, I can kind of almost make one. If I just got a bunch of snakes and a rope, I can, like, tie them all together and put them in, like, a shoe.
Final Fantasy boss. There you go.
Yeah, and that's my Baigan.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the rope you put on there and be like, couldn't even get an express belt. Like, what a like, come on, give us a little bit more drip than that.
I do like that Baigan on his at the bottoms, I guess, of his snakes where the shoulders would typically be. He has pauldrons.
He is pauldroned up.
He's got the Saiyan pauldrons.
Love that. He has been to Paul Jerome's recently.
He looks like a member of the fucking Ginyu Force.
But anyway, the fight on the Super Famicom, once again, I would say is not terribly challenging. In both versions, he can cast Reflect on himself after you cast magic on him. So that's kind of important that like you'll cast something strong on him, he'll reflect, and then you have to not cast anything on him because then it'll reflect off him, hit you.
Right.
But it does wear off in this game after a number of turns.
Oh, it does?
Yeah, he
Yes.
casted it a couple times against me, but I was also just using twin cast. And I was like, this might literally backfire on me, but they kept using Pyroblast or whatever that move's called, and it didn't reflect, so I was just fucking them up.
That's cool. That's cool. Now, on the 3D version, I actually had, like as always, kind of a problem with this guy, because like he is a lot faster on that version, and he has a lot more attacks as well. So he can do a lot of things to really fuck you up. He can like silence the party. He can poison you. He hits really, really fucking hard. To the point where he can like one hit KO either of the kids. Like they can just be taken out immediately.
Yeah, I got very close. I think I'd use one Phoenix down on one of the kids just because they were regularly in like the 30 HP area.
Yeah, we want to keep them safe.
That's not that impressive, though.
Yeah, he's beating up 5-year-olds.
Yeah, like, I could probably one-hit KO a 5-year-old, too. Like, come on. Think you're a big man?
If I had literal pythons for arms, I could probably take down a kid.
Yeah.
But only if I had pythons for arms. Other than
Only,
that, though, they'd probably take me.
Yeah. Like, dude, you're fighting an old man and 2 5-year-olds. You're such... Come on.
The other Amano art I just came across is very sus. He's very snaky looking already, except he looks like he's trying to pass off as like...
Yeah, and that one he looks like almost like a Chrono Trigger character or something.
Oh.
Which was also Final Fantasy IV at some point, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
Frog's
still
theme starts playing.
the coolest thing that I learned.
I know, right? That's so cool. Look at that. Look at that chonker.
It's kind of funny to think about how like the Amano art in some of it looks like it could be a Chrono Trigger thing, and then in the actual in-sprite game that doesn't really look like the Amano art looks like it could be a fucking Dragon Ball Z villain.
I like this pose because it looks like he's just like, all right, right hand, what do you have to say? And like he is actively listening along with left hand Snake.
This guy probably slaps at like puppet shows.
Yeah, there's definitely some vaudevillian shit going on with those snakes.
Does he is it jerking off or autofellatio?
Only one way to find out.
Or his dick's probably just another snake. Never mind.
He looks at his right hand and goes, "No teeth, no teeth."
Yeah. He poisons himself and passes out. Or it's just a rattle.
I would definitely do the
He gets excited and it's like chicka 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 chicka.
So yeah, the important thing about this fight is that you can eliminate his arms, but they will grow back, right?
Yeah.
So I was like
Piccolo.
like Piccolo. So I was like, I fought the super boss in FF10. I know how this goes. You take down both of the arms, and then you do damage on the middle section, right? And then you just rinse and repeat. But like, it's just not worth it. Like really, like after a little bit into the fight, I was like, fuck this. This sucks. But what's wild is once you actually beat Baigan and you destroy the middle section, the arms remain on the screen. And so I was like, oh shit, I'm going to have to eliminate all three at once. It's going to be one of these battles where he can regenerate no matter what.
Like Cell.
But if you don't eliminate the arms fast enough, he doesn't regenerate. They self-destruct and do like enough damage to one-hit KO any of the party members you have.
Whoa, damn.
I had one party member left, and he got arm missing.
No.
And that was my game over. So pissed.
No.
Man.
I took out one arm, and it doesn't regenerate if you don't take out the other arm in my version. So I just had one arm dead.
Yeah.
I cast Slow on him, and I cast Berserk on Yang and Cecil, and I just let them go to town.
That
I did
like
the Berserk
plan.
strats as well. I did Berserk strats and Twin Cast. And then with Tella, I was just casting like Curaga, because that was like pretty much all I needed.
Yeah, I had a Palom doing the Dancing Dagger,
Oh, nice.
which is, if used as an item, it just does like physical damage.
Yeah, that's in the speed run. One of the things they do is they do an item glitch to get the dancing dagger early, and then it takes care of like the entire first half of the game because
that's sick.
when used as an item, it does a lot of damage.
Nice.
And it sounds really cool too.
That's true. But dancing is outlawed in Baron right now, so that's actually
so
illegal.
You were breaking the law by killing one of the royal family members or something by using an illegal weapon.
Yeah, not the dagger, the dance. Yeah.
I used an illegal dance move, and I was kicked out of nationals.
So we kicked the shit out of Baigan, right?
Fuck Baigan. And then
bygones will be bygones.
if you're playing the like, I know I keep fucking harping on this, but if you're playing the 3D DS version, you should go back to Cecil's room and heal, and then go back to the waterway and save, because there's a save in the last room of the waterway. Because it has been an entire one episode since we got to say a fun Italian Dante's Inferno name, and I am excited to do it again.
Yeah,
Scarmiglione.
Scarmiglione.
Yeah, Scarmiglione was obviously killed.
Scarmiglione to you too.
And also with you. Then we're finally able to barge into the throne room, right? Mm-hmm. And the king is just sitting on the throne.
We talked to the king. He's like, "Thank God you're here. I want to help you." The king joins your party, and then Palom and Porum are like, "Fuck you, you fucking asshole. We already know what we know where this goes."
I mean, what's funny is that like that's not entirely different than what actually happens in some ways, because like we run into the king's room, and the king is at first like happy to see us, right? He's like, "Oh, you've returned at last, and you look all the stronger for your journey." And Cecil's just like, "Oh, your majesty." Like, I guess he was like prepared for a fight, but then not getting one. But the king is like, "Oh, you become a paladin. Well, that's not gonna work." And I was like, what? And that
won't do it all.
This is like very returning to your hometown energy.
He's like, "You would have been stronger with that dark sword."
Yeah. I hate this is Cecil's showing up to his class reunion, but actually having done something cool and important with his life. And then like his old friends from high school are like bitter about it.
They're like, "What happened to you, man? You used to be cool."
I remember when you come over and just smoke weed in the basement all day.
You used to listen to Typo Negative with me.
Sell out.
Now he just listens to Kate Bush and nothing else.
Hell fucking yeah. That's such a paladin.
He ran up the mountain. He made a deal with God. He did it.
Hell yeah, it's true. He fucking did.
I found Jesus.
But the King of Baigan, or after he says that, Cecil goes, "Oh, my liege," and he goes, "Liege? Who are you talking about? Oh, I remember. You mean the old fool that refused to surrender his kingdom? Yes, that's it. The King of Baigan. It's his part that I've been playing all this time." And so, like, oh, big reveal. The king wasn't even, like, mind controlled. It was never the king to begin with.
Yeah.
It was somebody else.
Game Boy Advance translation. This ruled because he literally says, he's just like, "Oh, you must mean the old duffer who refused to surrender his kingdom."
Oh, yeah, he said old duffer in mine, too, yeah.
Also, that gives strong Professor Oak vibes. Agatha, he said, "That old duff was once handsome."
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right.
But yeah, he says, about the king, like, Cecil's like, "What have you done with the king?" And he says, "You'll see him soon enough. Oh, and give my regards to Milan or Scarmiglione."
Scarmiglione.
Give my regards to Scarmiglione when you see him in hell. That weakling never deserved to be one of the 4 fiends of elements or one of the 4 arch fiends. Like,
one of the 4 arch
like,
friends.
I just love that line of, like, yeah, say hello to him in hell. It's like, have you guys seen the movie?
How one as weak as he came to be crowned an archfiend is something I will never know.
Yeah, but, like, didn't he do it?
Have you guys ever seen Dirty Work?
What was the movie?
It's called Dirty Work. It's got Artie Lang and Norm Macdonald, and it was directed and I think written by Bob Saget.
I don't think so.
It's a very good movie, but there's this one scene where it's like things like go awry and all of this like chaos is happening, but you don't get to see any of the chaos. You can only hear it. And it's just Norm Macdonald and Artie Lang standing there, and they're like super awkward, and they're holding fish because it makes sense in the scene. But it's just their faces like horrified at what they're seeing the entire time, standing completely still. And at one point, one of the guys just goes, "Say hello to the devil for me," as they're like using more and more weapons against him. He's like, "Oh, you took my chainsaw, and now he's using it on me." But like the one line that always stood out to me is just, "Say hello to the devil for me." So anytime that happens in this game, I just think of that.
So who are we fighting now?
So the king transforms into a Cagnazzo.
Cagnazzo,
the drowned king, arch friend of the water.
That's really cool. I like in the script that I'm reading, it just says, "I am the devil of the water."
Wow. I love the translation, like the names that they give each other. Like, what was
the sequel to that M. Night Shyamalan movie, Devil of Water?
What's the thing that Scarmiglione called himself? The blighted despot.
Oh, yeah.
The blighted despot. And then this guy is the drowned king. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah, that's really good.
Those are really good names. I want to say Cagnazzo again.
Cagnazzo. I really love how his king sprite just turns into a little turtle on my screen.
It turns into a little war turtle. When I was playing it, I was like, "Oh, Blastoise." And there he is. He's Hydro Pump.
The pixel font they use in the DS version, the D has kind of a little bit of a slant, so it kind of looks like it says the Browned King.
Oh, no.
the Browned King.
He shit himself.
Yeah,
he's trying to play it off like it's cool.
I just kept him on the burner a little too long.
Bring me my brown pants.
What I like about this this character or whatever is that it is just like a solid blue turtle, but with like a human's face, and there's something very like uncomfortable about that.
It's very scary looking.
He does have kind of like a Dark Souls enemy where he is kind of have humanoid limbs, at least in the 3D version. But he has like a turtle shell, so he's able to like. This is that kind of like Japanese horror where like things that shouldn't have human arms or human limbs just like scuttling around that aren't moving like humans. Like, ugh.
Yeah, he's a little uncomfortable in that way.
A little Jinji Ito type of thing.
Yep.
But the first thing he does is cast slow on you.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Damn, really?
Yo, you ever had slow cast on you? Shit sucks.
That must have happened a long time ago because I've been slow for many years now.
Peter was never the same after he played FF4 for the first time.
Yeah. This was actually my third Final Fantasy. I played 10 and 7 before I played 4, so...
Oh, hell yeah.
So did we on the podcast, so that works out.
You're too late.
So way back in the day when I was younger, I was just like, eventually there will be a podcast, and it's going to be called Every F and FF, and I will follow their lead.
Daycare Dittos is only around before we were, then you all could have been 3-peat guests.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing is that Daycare Dittos has always been around in the ether. It's just been waiting for somebody to grab it and like summon its essence into the real world.
Much like Meteor.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like Meteor, yeah. They climbed Mount Ordeals.
And much like Meteor, it will kill me.
But yeah, so the cool thing about Cagnazzo is his weaknesses change throughout the course of the battle depending on what he's doing. So if you're like me and everything always conforms to Pokemon rules always, water is weak to thunder, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Of course.
And then you use thunder on him and he's not weak to it. And I was like, well, all right, well, there's that. But every now and again, a message will pop up that says he's summoning water to him, and you'll see like a little like tiny tidal wave kind of like materialize around his sprite, right? And in those seconds, he is weak to thunder. And importantly, you do want to cast thunder during that time period, because if you don't, he'll use a move called Tsunami on you that in the 3DS difficulty version is just game over pretty much. Like that's just it at that point.
Even in my cheated save, it just killed Palamamporum like instantly.
Yeah. It's rough. I got hit by it a couple of times, but I like kind of accidentally used lightning at the right time and was like, oh shit, that actually worked. Because I didn't even notice that he wasn't usually weak to lightning. I was just kind of rattling it off because, again, Pokemon rules. I think I did the same thing. I didn't
also
have anything.
Use grass type.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I had the same type attack bonus for it. So, but I pretty much just like did the same strat, like Berserk and Haste on Yang and Cecil, and then like just Twin Cast whenever I could. But I actually no, I didn't use Twin Cast. I was just using Thunder, like Thundaga, and just like happened to hit him when he was like charging up, and I was like, shit, that makes this fight so much easier.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I cast Bolt 3 at the exact right moment, and I dealt over 5,000 damage with Tella, and I took him out in one hit.
Mm-hmm.
Just he never even saw it coming.
Yeah, I will say like the magic damage output in the 2D versions is a lot stronger, so you can just like 2 or 3, like even without like powerful characters, 2 or 3 Bolt 3s is all it takes, and then you're done.
I felt like I cheated. I cheated myself out of a good time.
You cheated not only the game, but yourself.
Yeah.
There's a race to see who could say that fastest. But yeah, the 3D one, he counters every physical hit with a paralysis move. So if you hit him with a sword, he paralyzes your character. And then he counters every magic hit with silence. So you're just constantly unable to use anything in the 3D version. It's so rough.
Oof.
I think I noticed that like one of Yang's attacks because it just healed. Because I think I had like thunder bracers on Yang, and like every a few moves it would just start healing him. So I just had Yang be like a support character and just constantly like throwing down potions or a heal or remedies or whatever, just to kind of get people going.
Well, I think
back on their feet. Or like Tella also was just like
he must have had
he
must have had an ice claw on, because ice claws will heal him.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that must have been it.
Oh, shit.
Ice claws on.
Now I did focus with Yang and then on the 3D version and hit him with the Thunder Claws when he was weak to thunder, and that did a fuckload of damage. That was huge. And that also does dispel the water as well.
Okay, I was wondering about
sick.
that.
Yeah.
I was bummed that you could not switch out weapons mid-battle like in 10.
Yeah.
You may be able to on the 2D versions. I don't remember. It's at least this way for 5 and 6, that if you hit the up button while you're in the item menu, it switches to an equipment menu.
Yeah, it does switch to that, but when you do it, you just end up using the item, like the thunder effect or whatever.
Oh, having the option to then use it from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, all right, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
But he also has a second phase where he goes into his shell, and it's called like turtle defense or something.
That's true. Yeah,
goofy.
He does the nest slug thing from FF10, where he hides in his shell and then just starts healing himself. But unlike nest slug, he's not healing for like 60,000 HP every turn or something like that.
Yeah. So pretty much at that point, I think the fight is pretty much
Dude, if you can pump out the damage, you can just shut him down then, because he is weak to thunder at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so with like 2 black magic casters in your party, and if you have lightning claws on Yang, you're just going to pump out so much damage, he's not going to be able to keep up with you.
Yeah, so we send his ass to hell as well.
No, you say hi to Scarmiglione.
Yeah.
I don't even know him.
You say hello to the devil for me.
Would you introduce... I don't know him. I don't know Scarmiglione. We had a really weird encounter the first time I met him. If you could go first and then introduce me to him, I think that would be a lot less awkward, actually.
It's all networking.
Oh, this guy just name dropped Scarmiglione like he's so important.
So now we can go save Sid.
Well, yeah,
now
so the battle ends.
Yeah, now we can go save Sid.
Yeah, the battle ends, and then Sid just fucking barges in, and he's like, "You swine!" And he just starts.
He's ready to fight.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's ready to kill the king with his bare hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the script that I'm looking at here, he says, "Locking me up in that stink hole. I'm gonna knock your teeth in." I don't think he said that in the one but he had another. He said something else like pretty fucking good.
He said like,
version.
"You got another thing coming if you think you can keep me locked up in a musty old sty like that."
Yeah.
It was clean when we put you in there, Sid.
We sanitize it between prisoners. We promise.
But yeah, Cecil sees him and he's like, "Oh my God, Sid, you're all right." And Sid is surprised that Cecil's alive. He asks about Rosa. Cecil says she was taken by Golbez. But then they all agree. They're like, "Okay, time to get that airship out." Sid is like, "All right, I got one hidden here in the castle, so let's go get that." Which, like, man just casually hid a whole airship.
A fucking airship. I love it.
It's incredible.
My brain is like thinking a lot about like fucking Avengers. We're like, yeah, we got like 3 giant airships just underneath Washington D.C. We're just about to pull them out and just use them whenever we want.
Yeah, this also kind of has some Joss Whedon like quirky dialogue of like our friends are fighting with one another and they're like trying to get lines in and stuff.
The best shit is when Tella and Sid don't like each other, and it's great.
Just, like Sid's like, "Who's this old fart?" And Tella says, "You bug-eyed stinker." Just like, I think each translation is going to be different. Yeah. I learned a new word,
octogenarian.
Octogenarian, which I like said to my girlfriend.
80s?
Yeah, I said that to my girlfriend, and she was like, "You don't know what that word means?" I was like, "Oh, I guess I'm just a fucking idiot because I never heard that. I don't think about people 80 years old, I guess."
That's such a trigenarian thing to say, Carl.
But yeah, I love that they like immediately get off on the wrong foot. It's like hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like the 2 old guys.
He's like, "I'm half your age and then some, old fart."
Yeah, it's
grumpy old men.
Good witty banter.
2 bad neighbors.
Then Yang makes like a good impression because he's like the one with manners.
Yeah, right.
He's got the grandiosity and just like, "It's an honor to meet you, sir, but I fear a situation does dictate haste."
I love that.
It's like, now here's a man who knows some manners.
Yeah, you know, yeah. Sid loves him. I love it.
I like how Palom also says like, "Oh man, we've got another geezer on board now," and like, and Borum's like, "That repulsive brat is my twin brother." Like, there's a lot of good shit here.
So nobody likes each other.
I'm excited for more of those jokes.
Yeah, I can't wait for some more cool Param and Palom action.
I can't wait for them to meet all of our other friends.
And see how they interact with Rydia.
Yeah, Rosa's really gonna like them.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like eventually Tella's like, "We don't have time for this blathering. Rosa's life is at stake," and like Tella just wants to get his murder on. Super exciting.
Hell yeah.
He's got some medio to cast.
He's filled with the bloodlust.
Ooh, love it. Yeah, he cast Berserk on him. Or wait.
He's like a demon long dead with nothing left to lose.
Mm-hmm. And his child friends.
We walk into that room that's in front of the king's throne room. The atrium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a very thin hallway, right? Like I think it's only like 8 tiles wide or something like that. I suppose it would be an odd number of tiles wide, but 7, let's say.
Yeah, 7.
An octogenarian hallway.
That's right. Yeah. I think this one would be a septuagenarian. But is there a good septa joke I can make there? Probably, but I'm just gonna pass it up. So they walk into the hallway. And then the hallway is just long enough too that all of the characters can fit in the hallway if the sixth person is standing on the door sprite. So it's really only like 5 tiles wide, which I think is really funny. But the color of the screen changes, and you hear a disembodied Cagnazzo voice.
The drowned king, Cagnazzo, deposed, but the wicked are not wont to fall alone.
And then he threatens the party some more, and he says, "I'll save a briny pit for you in hell." Ha 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 ha.
Hell yeah.
And the walls begin to close in on us, right? So like, oh no, that old chestnut. And the doors are both locked, so nobody can get out.
Oh, if only somebody had a key.
If only somebody had the key. Which
if only they had a long pipe like in Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, the Dianaga would come and get them.
3PO!
Yeah. I was wondering what that thing was called.
They radio
Where could he be?
Yeah, they radio to R2. R2, come in. Yeah.
They're dying.
Oh, they're dying. Yeah.
Sid's pretending to be an archfiend on the like intercom or something, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, no, we're fine. How are you?"
Yeah. But yeah, the walls are closing in, and I like that in the 3D version, it shows them run up to the walls and try to push against them. So they're like trying to hold the walls back, but only one side of the walls, which I think is funny.
Yeah, the 3D one, I think like half the people are like pushing against one side of the walls, like Cecil, and then like Tella is pushing Yang into like the other wall. Like they're just like doing like Ghost, but like with pushing walls. Like, you're gonna break his fucking shoulder.
He should cast Meteor about it.
He should.
Yeah, the walls are closing in. There's nothing anybody can do, so it looks like the end for the party. And then Palom and Porum start to have like a conversation between each other, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're
internally,
like,
kind of.
They're twins.
Yeah, they're like, okay, well, we know what we need to do here. Like, we know how to get out of this. And they're both like on the same page, right? Like, we don't know what their plan is yet.
Neither of them
like,
skips a beat. They both are 100% dedicated.
Right. And Cecil's like, what are you all talking about? And they're just like, oh, Cecil, it was good meeting you, and we'll miss you, but this is the end of the line. And they're like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't bode well. And now that you've told me that they're 5, it's very crazy.
Yeah.
No 5-year-old has ever done anything good for anyone, so I refuse to believe this game anymore. It has shattered disbelief at this point.
Well, I mean, it's just heartbreaking, too, that, like, Baron and the War Machine are really good at throwing very, 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 very young children into war.
Yeah, very good at it. Like, this is not the...
I bet the Elder's really kicking himself now.
This will be...
He's like, take good care of them, Cecil.
Yeah.
They're my only 2 children.
So they have this plan. They both face each of the walls across from each other, right? So, like, one's facing the left wall, one's facing the right wall. And then they cast, depending on your version of the game, stone or break on themselves.
Yeah.
And so they turn themselves to stone to hold the walls back. And it works.
Yeah. Depending on which version you're playing, you could either listen to Like a Stone by Audio Slave right here, or if it's an earlier version where it's called Break, you can listen to Linkin Park, One Step Closer.
Yeah.
There you go. That's canonical.
And I have an issue with this.
Yeah.
It works, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that the floor is carpeted.
Yeah.
So this is like trying to use like a tennis ball as a doorstop.
It just like rolls out of the way. Yeah.
It just slides. They would just slide. Like,
well, I guess like you could get into like until the 2 statues butted up against each other, and then I guess it would be fine. It's just everybody would have to like awkwardly climb over them.
God, that would be even sadder.
Oh no.
Also, they could just open the door.
Porum's foot fell off.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Porum's foot came off. Uh-oh.
But the doors just open and they get out. Why don't they just cast, I don't know, slow on the walls or
Stop.
Yeah.
Everybody always
That's a
forgets
good
about
point.
slow. That's the
also,
thing.
or warp.
Yeah, warp.
Yeah,
we have
teleport, warp. My God.
lots of solutions here.
Yeah, Jesus.
Or you could just let yourself get
they're
crushed
kids.
and use a phoenix down on your friends.
They're kids, so like clearly like they may not have thought it all through. Like the first thing that a 5-year-old thinks of may not necessarily be like the optimal way out of a situation.
That's true.
They always do the Goonies route.
In class, they were told never cast break on yourself, and they were like, "Oh, let's try it."
Yeah.
Classic 5-year-olds. 5-year-old wanted to get down to the bottom floor of a skyscraper. They're like, well, they just dive off. It's just like, this seems like the only option as a 5-year-old.
As a 5-year-old, my mom would tell me not to play with hornets, and I'd be like, all right, I want to touch it now.
Yeah.
And look where your life decisions have gotten you.
I'm here, Mom.
Yeah.
I made it.
It worked.
After this happens, there's just two little, statues holding the walls from closing in on us and killing us all. And Tell is like, hang on a second, like I can fix this. And he casts Esuna to try and cure them of it. And it says the spell has no effect as the twins have become stone of their own will.
Yeah. I love it that they're casting...
Can't even use golden needles or anything.
Yeah, they're casting spells on the overworld, which is always pretty interesting to me. And Tella also says it should have been me. I should have been quicker.
He's like, I'm the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then he's like, you know, the kids would have died sooner or later. Ha-cha-cha, let's
go. Oh, that's
well, we're all going to die, Porum. I meant soon. So did I.
Me too. Yeah. So yeah, there we have it again. That's 3 people under the age of 10 that have been in our party that are now destroyed under the war machine, right?
Yeah.
So this game pretty
really
brutal.
sad.
They would be 17
really
if you added all of their ages together.
They can't even vote together.
God damn.
They can't even watch an R-rated movie together.
You stack them all up in a trench coat and they're still not tall enough.
But Sid pipes up and says,
I'll fire up the Enterprise. We'll venge them both.
Yeah,
he says we'll avenge them.
Yeah, we'll venge them. We'll venge them up to the Enterprise.
If the venging doesn't work, then you go for the revenging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It implies that the venge didn't work.
It's like refried beans.
Should fry them the first time.
So what scene is sadder, Palom and Porum, or Ash from Pokemon the first movie turning to stone?
Oh man, the Ash.
I think the first
Ash
movie.
Scene. Yeah.
You have to play that Brother My Brother song again.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well.
So anyway,
the scene cuts to Golbez and Kain and Rosa.
Yeah.
And Golbez is just like, oh, he's defeated Cagnazzo. His power continues to grow, and then Kain's just like, hey, regarding this crystal, why don't we just instead of going get it ourselves, let's make Cecil do it and offer up a trade with Rosa's life.
Right.
And then he can't refuse, and when he comes here for the trade-off, we'll finish him then, kind of thing. It's it's a trap,
right? But
also it kind of I guess it's implied that wherever the crystal is now is not really worth their effort right now.
And I think that an important piece
is the last one.
That's right. I think an important piece of Kain's personality is fleshed out more here as well.
Yeah.
The we keep seeing that Golbez is taking control of people and mentally manipulating them, but I still we were talking about that one time. I wonder how much of that is true for Kain and how much is just his genuine latent hatred and jealousy for Cecil, because once he's getting ready to depart, he says to Rosa after just before he leaves, he says, I am more than Cecil will ever be, and you'll see that soon enough. And I'm like, oh
yeah. Or he'll say Rosa, you'll see soon enough that I am superior to Cecil.
Yeah.
So it's all coming from a place of insecurity.
Did you guys ever talk about the fact that right above Rosa is a giant guillotine?
Yeah. There's a giant guillotine above her too.
Or in different versions, there's a 1-ton weight or something like that. Because
that's true. In the original Super Nintendo version of 2, they put a little cartoon anvil weight thing above her,
just like a piano.
The 3 one looks like they put her on a cross, but the cross is too high, so they put her under the cross, this left-right cross, and put a scythe or a pendulum blade there.
It's the thing from Saw 3, 4.
Yes, I'm sure we'll start a Saw podcast
at some point.
Have you seen Saw?
I saw it.
Seen Saw.
You see the Saw I see? But anyway.
So Sid reveals to us the location of the airship. It's behind a hidden button in a clock that he presses, and then we go down some stairs. Or so he just goes up to the wall, doesn't he? I don't even think he touches the clock.
There's like
He says the darkest place is under the candlestick, or so they say.
There's like a noise.
Yeah.
There's like a noise of something breaking, and then he kind of walks through.
Yeah, so he walks into like the out of bounds space in the castle, and that's no one would ever thought to have looked out of bounds. Nobody in Baron ever turns no clipping on.
I mean, to be fair, if I don't know that there's a hidden path in this game, I usually won't find it either.
Fair.
But we go down to the airship. The airship raises up from Baron, so now we have that to fly around on, and immediately
it looks just like the Red Wing ship, except it's yellow.
Yeah,
right,
it's like slightly different color. Yeah.
And then immediately one of the Red Wings ships shows up, right? And it's waving a white flag, they say.
Yeah.
So the two
means they're surrendering.
They're surrendering.
Mm-hmm.
So the two ships,
we win.
the two ships pull up beside each other, and they put like a makeshift bridge in between the two. And I was like wondering how well that would work in real life. Like these like two floating things, and they're like standing on a bridge in between the two. It just seems
big trust exercise.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Kain like walks across, like he doesn't go onto our airship. He kind of just stands in the middle of that, which seems like it's like the milk crate challenge where like one slight move and he could just fucking fall to his death.
Right.
Oh my god.
He's used to jumping.
But
our ship is much bigger though, I can see. In the 3D version. I mean like maybe like 20% bigger.
I think that actually is a thing later. I think they say that they can't keep up with the Red Wings, that they're always faster. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah, it's because we're big and slow.
Yeah. We're big. But Kain is there on the ship, and so Kain and Cecil meet.
Kain.
So, you did survive. Impressive.
Where's Rosa? She's safe, I trust.
Worried about her, are you? If you wish to see Rosa live, fetch me the Earth Crystal from the land of Troya.
Kain tells Cecil the plan, and like everybody in the party is all like taken aback. They're all aghast about it. Tella says, "What a craven play." And Kain says, "I'll make contact, so you would do well to hurry if you value your life." And so like...
Or value Rosa's life.
Oh, really? It says your life in the script I'm reading.
Yeah.
Oh, well, in the 3D version, it says, like, you do well to hurry if you value Rosa's life.
Yeah, or like, remember Rosa's life depends on it.
Which I think kind of adds a more emotional weight to it personally.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Like making, like, she's the hostage kind of thing.
Yeah.
That is really the only version of that makes a lot of sense. But Cecil says, "Open your eyes to what you're doing, Kain." And Kain just says, "This meeting is over." And then again, the Red Wings ship flies
This
off.
could have been an email. And then he just
But yeah, so Cecil says, "We make for Troya. Sid set us on a course for the Northwest." And that is where we'll leave it today.
Yeah, I do love that after Kain leaves, Sid calls him a dirty scumbag.
Also, importantly, Sid is in our party now, too.
Yeah, as an engineer.
Yep.
You can rename him with Naming Way, too.
Bid.
Yeah.
What can you rename him to?
You can just reverse his name. He'll be Dick.
Nice.
Like a good old Richard.
That's the company that put out all the Saturday morning cartoon anime.
Yeah, Bobby's
like
World.
But yeah, that's where we'll leave it for today. So next time we're going to be heading to Troya and then doing what the hell is the name of that cave? Whatever the cave is that's involved with Troya.
There's always a cave.
If there's one thing I've learned, there's always a crystal, there's always a cave. It's every episode.
It's always caves and mountains.
Thank you guys so much for coming on our podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you for having us.
I feel like we learned a lot about Pokemon today.
Thanks for having us. I'm excited to figure what comes next in these Crystal Chronicles.
I think I saw that the world record for Crystal Chronicles was set yesterday, I think. Somebody got a new world record in that speed run.
Damn.
Can't believe Dave's revealing what game we're doing next.
It's crazy. Get out your GameCube adapter. What is it? Your Game Boy Advance adapter.
You have to play with the GBA adapter for GameCube.
Yeah. Who's carrying the bucket?
I was going to say, who's the younger brother? Who has to carry the chalice?
I'll do bucket duty. Alex has to do bucket duty of the actual podcast by editing it and making it sound good.
Every podcast, it's a bucket.
Bucket duty sounds like taking a shit in a bucket.
That's what I was thinking too.
That'll be the poop term for that season, I guess.
Yeah.
Instead of swamp shoot.
If you're ever on a job site, don't open a random bucket because 9 times out of 10 there's shit in there.
That is our advice to you. Thank you so much for
that is the lesson for today's episode.
Yeah. So where can people find you guys online?
Daycare Dittos on Instagram. Or you can search us anywhere. The podcast places. Those places, Spotify's and
your local podcast dispensary.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Say I wanted to send you a jack-o'-lantern with your face carved in it with a knife stuck in the top. Where would I send that in real life?
In real life?
In real life, if I wanted to make a jack-o'-lantern of your head with a knife stuck in the top of it as a friendly hello, where would I send that to?
Now I wonder where all of these DoorDash people went.
Anyway,
carving them up.
Yeah, anywhere you can find our podcast and rate it 5 stars, you should actually go and really do that on Daycare Dittos, because it's like Alex, it's like my favorite podcast to listen to right now. I'm obviously biased because I love Dave and Peter and Sarah and Steven so much, but
tell them what your least
joy.
favorite Pokemon is in the review that you leave them.
Yeah. What is the
worst
Pokemon?
one?
But you have to give 5 stars. Don't forget.
Yeah,
that's right. 5 stars and then worst Pokemon.
Yeah, there's I don't really like throw, and then what's the other one?
Sock.
Sock on these balls.
That's it. I'm done with the podcast now. That's
I've come around. I've come around on Sock, and I want to talk to you guys about it, but for another time.
Okay, sounds good. I do like them too. There's no Pokemon I don't like.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this on the week this comes out, you can go listen to their new episode, probably covering Tentacool and Tentacruel, which are some of my favorite looking Pokemon.
I do love those ones.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of sneaky noodly boys.
And if you want to appreciate the incredible editing on the Every FNFF podcast, just listen to the little work I do. But it's been made so much better from the help of Alex, so I'm just in awe.
I definitely noticed, there's a volume bump in this episode.
Sure is. Nothing else, though.
You do a good job, bud.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. I'm always listening with AirPods, so I can hear all the little imperfections, and I never hear any imperfections. So.
You hear Chainsaw being a little...
You ever hear anyone sneak up on you?
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel very enheartened by that.
It feels good. Well, we'll be forever the child statues holding the walls of your podcast left in the past. And thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
I like to think that Cecil walks back out into the town and he's like, "You can dance!"
Yeah. You come back years later, they have Porum as like a little lawn gnome. They're using him to prop the door open that constantly locks at the shop. Special of the day, chalkboards being held up by
Dave. They basically they get turned into lamps and put at a local Goodwill that we then find and I buy for my apartment several years ago.
You legit have
some extremely
Paolo and Porum. Take photos of them and post them.
I have the creepiest lamps that I think they're at my mom's house, and I think my mom actually uses them now, but they're just these very creepy children that are probably haunted, that are lamps that are in the shape of weird children.
Have you tried casting Esuna?
No, I never tried that next time.
No, those lamps became lamps of their own free will, so it won't work.
We're back to crystal lamps. Now I want to download like the 3D models and like 3D print like little bookends of them.
Well, if you could pull their 3D models and get them to me, I'll try and find a way to convert them into a way and print you little bookends.
Thank you.
Find a way.
So that's another thing. You do some toy making, don't you?
I do. I have a toy show on Friday in Somerville, New Jersey. Yeah, you can find stuff on a Creepy NJ on Instagram.
Do it.
Really good follow. He's been taking pictures with his Game Boy camera and uploading them to Instagram, which has been super cool to see. So give Creepy NJ a follow.
Or else. Alex, would you like to gather the water around you?
Oh, shit.
Watch out, though. You will be susceptible to lightning damage while you're doing this.
Thank you to Night of the Round for the theme music. It always rocks. Go check them out on Bandcamp. Thank you to Nobuo Uematsu, Junya Nakano, and Kenichiro Fukui for the game music. A lot of good tunes this episode. Leave us a review on iTunes. It always helps. And you can call us or text us at 530-MATERIA. I love hearing Creepy Dave leave us a voicemail when he's driving sometimes. I think last time that was like last season or whatever. You can find us at every FNFF on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch sometimes. And join our Discord, which you can find through those other services. And you do well to hurry if you value this podcast life.
Bye.
See y'all next week.
Bye. Again.
Bye. Nice.